All right. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. It's like we're a little thin on participants right now, but I'm sure people will show up as we get going. So yeah, we're here today to talk about MemberPress rules. I'm here with Katy Barrilleaux as usual. Appreciate you being here, Katy.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right. So MemberPress rules. This is a pretty broad topic. We've narrowed this topic down ourselves to kind of make it fit in the scope of this webinar, but it does lend itself to a little more interactive format. So this one, if you want to involve yourselves, it'll feel a little different. Make sure that you drop anything in the chat that you want to hear. We're trying to involve you more. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if there's anything that we can't, that you want us to talk about, go ahead and drop it in the comments and we'll talk about it. So yeah, Katie's here helping. She'll be monitoring chat as well. We're going to walk through a few things here. We're going to walk through MemberPress rules, what they are, why they matter. We're going to walk through a few examples of what you'd use rules to protect. And we have a few walkthroughs of specific rules. So those are the three things that we're going to cover in this webinar. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, drop them in the chat. We'll be listening to you, and we'll pick up on them as we go. So if it's relevant to the topic at hand, we'll take care of it at the time. If not, we might take care of it at the end. And if it's something that we need to do a little research or homework on, we can take care of it once we're finished up. So we're excited to hear what you think. So MemberPress rules. What are MemberPress rules? These rules protect any type of content. They'll protect a product, they'll protect a page, a forum, a course, a book, you name it, we can come up with a rule for it. There's some way that we can protect that content. And when I say protect content, that means the content you want to have an you want to control the access. So like a lock on a door, you can only get in if you have the key. That'd be like a membership. If you had a membership, you can say, hey, only people of this membership can see this content. That's what a MemberPress rule does for you. So why would you gate content? Why would you do something like this? Maybe you want to create a paywall. You could do something like that. A lot of journalistic companies do that. They'll, the New York Times or ESPN or, some of those, the Athletic, they'll lock their content behind a paywall. You might have tiered access to something, perhaps I've heard of like a martial arts, school that tiered its courses. So you would have like the entry level courses and you couldn't get access to the next level of courses, the next membership until you'd been signed off on. So they'd move you up a membership level and you could access the next level of courses. And it's just basically controlling who sees specific content. There's a lot of different ways that we can use this. There's other ways to gate off content in Rainmaker platform. AccessPress is a holdover from the previous version of Rainmaker platform. You can still use that. There's LearnDash itself has some ways that you can keep your courses behind a gate. You can control access that way. But a MemberPress is very flexible and a really good option. So we're going to show you how you can use it. So here are a couple of common examples that we see. Well, let's take a look here. Okay. So first, let me just make sure we look in the features here and make sure that it's turned on. So modules and add-ons. So here you can see I went up here, I clicked features, and in this module section, we got to make sure enable MemberPress module is on. you'll notice I have a lot of different stuff turned on here. Some of the rules will not apply to you if you don't have that module turned on. So we just want to make sure that's turned on and then save it. It's already on for me, so I don't necessarily have to worry about that. So next, let's go ahead and open rules. So over here on the left, we're going to click conversion. And under this MemberPress section, we're going to click rules. So in this rules screen, we can click add new to create a new rule. So you'll see here, this is the add new rule screen. We're just going to go through this section by section and kind of show you what each of these things does. So you'll see this box here is called content and access. So under the content and access box, you have this protected content here. So first, you click on this left side, you can choose any type of content. You'll notice there's a dizzying array of possibilities here. So we could choose all content and completely gate our entire site off. You know, you could choose all content with a tag. You could do Rainmaker LMS and gate some of that off, or quizzes. You know, you could do a single post or types of posts, landing pages, portfolios, forums, you know, libraries, books, podcasts, URLs, you name it, there's something in here for it. But for now, we're just going to look at something that a lot of people do. We're going to use a single post, and we're going to control access to that. So for this single post, I'm going to do one of my old test posts. So I typed it in the box and it showed it, and I clicked on it. So now it's populated that field with the right page. And you know that what shows up there will depend on what I choose over here. We'll show you more on that in a minute. Down here is the access conditions section. So up here, I'm saying what I want to protect. Here, I'm saying how I want to protect it. So I choose who gets access to that. Maybe it's a membership. That's going to be the most common one. You can say, hey, anybody who has this membership, so for example, free content library, has access to my blog broadcast test. If they don't have that membership, they don't have access to it. We could do a single member, or we could do a role or a capability that someone has, for example, administrator or contributor. So you can control access that way. You know, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. In addition, we could say, okay, so anybody who has a membership in the free content library can access this My Blog Broadcast test page. We could also say, oh, there's somebody who doesn't have that membership that we want to have access to it. So we're going to say, oh, Rainmaker support. We want Rainmaker support to have access to that as well. Boom, there we go. So, you know, there's a lot of flexibility to that. You'll notice here, partial content codes. I'll come back to that. We'll talk about that separately. Now, here's another thing that you can do. This is all that we need to create a functional rule. This rule will function, but there are other options that we can use here. So drip and expiration are two time-based possibilities. So first, you know, drip basically means you can set a time. You can set a time that something becomes available. So you could say you're rolling out a new product, right? And you want to have it in the system, you want to have it published, but you don't necessarily want people to have access to it yet. So what you could say is, you know, drip this content. You know, I say, okay, I want it to launch on a specific date. You know, I want it to launch on August 11th at, you know, 000. So you can do that. and that'll launch. Or, somebody registers and after they've registered, then you can say, hey, they get access to this. We dropped in. Hey, Mara, how's it going?
Yeah, I would just add with the drips, it's very common. Seems like most people, when they're setting up evergreen content or evergreen memberships, where they want people to be able to just join at any time, and then maybe a week after they join, they gain access to this new piece of information, and so they create a drip based on that. Other people, I'm aware of a few customers that what they do is they set up a course that starts on a specific date, and then everyone, they pre-sell it, and then everyone will start the course on the same date, and then the course information rolls out according to a schedule, like over 6 weeks. Every week they get a new lesson in the course, for example. So really you have that flexibility, whether you're setting up an evergreen drip, or if you want to have time-based content that's going to roll out based upon everyone getting access on a specific date at the same time.
Yeah, great example. So drip, that's how drip works. Expiration's the same thing, but in reverse. So if you want to say that someone has access to something for a certain amount of time, and then that access goes away, that's something that you can set up here too with expiration. I'll mention for those of you that are just kind of joining the call, I said this at the beginning, but hey, if you have questions or comments or anything like that, drop it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to solicit feedback as we can. So feel free to jump in. All right. So this MemberPress rule, I've got that down. I don't really want to do drip or expiration for this. The last thing we're going to look at is this unauthorized access. Now, unauthorized access here, you can see this says this overrides the global settings for unauthorized access handling. So in MemberPress, if you want to, you can set a global setting for, hey, if people don't have access to this content, here's what you want to show. But this setting on this rule will govern anything that this rule covers. So here with excerpts, we can say, the default, or you can completely hide the post. You can use a more tag or a post excerpt. This is really useful. I'll show you an example of this. Here we go. Here's a story. So ESPN Plus. This is an example of somebody using an excerpt. So Zach Lowe, he's one of my favorite basketball writers, but he's on ESPN Plus, which I don't have logged in on this browser. So you can see here, you can see a good chunk of it. It draws you in. You say, hey, I want to read more. Oops, go ahead and sign up. Pay $6.99 a month if you want to read the rest of it. So that's something you can do. You can show that excerpt here. So I'm going to say, yeah, I want to put a more tag in my post, and then everything before that more tag will show, and then everything after that, people have to log in to see the full piece. Next, we have this unauthorized message. So the unauthorized message is when somebody's not logged in, they'll see this message when they go to that site. So you probably, if I wanted to add a custom message here, I could say, you don't have access, or actually, if you want to read more, sign up for our free content library membership here, and then just add the link, CTA. So I could use that as my custom unauthorized message for that. And then here, login form, this decides whether, somebody sees a place to log in or doesn't see a place to log in when they go to that post.
Yeah, I would say, just to add a little bit to this, from my perspective, kind of a best practices case is to go ahead and show the login form on a page whenever you have a piece of content that's protected. If you put the login form right there on the page, and I think it's great to have a message, especially if it's a custom message like what David is showing, so that you can customize the message, maybe add a link to the sales page so that they'll know how to sign up or buy to access the content, and then have the login form right there so that if it is someone, maybe it is a member who comes to your site and they come to the page but they're not logged in, they could just log in right there on that page. They don't have to go over, they don't have to follow a login link and go over to a login page, and then you're concerned about whether or not they're going to make it back, and is it a pain for them. So I really like showing the login form to make it very easy and clear. If you are a member, just log in right here and then have a custom message that explains why you're not seeing the content and what you need to do in order to see it.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and follow best practices here. We'll have our message and we'll have our login form. And I'm going to go ahead and save this rule. And I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like. And then I'll put that slug there. Okay. So this is the rule that we just made. We protected a single post. Oh yeah, and Katie, didn't this change? Right?
Yeah, that's a good point. So usually when you come in to create something new, a page or a post, the first thing you do is you give it a title. But with these rules, if you just bypass that top title field, as you can see, as you start to create the rule, it will auto-populate a title for it that is descriptive of what the rule is that you just set up. So you might want to take a look at it before you leave the page to make sure you don't want to add something to it or edit it, but that's a little handy feature there.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to tell from the rules page when I look, what this rule covers, which is handy. So here you can see, here's the page. I'm logged in. I can see the page here. But if I wasn't logged in, let me go ahead and just show you what that would look like. I'm going to open a new private window so we can see what it looks like not logged in. And I'm going to stop presenting and then just grab that window for a second. Alrighty. Bear with me for just a moment, and we'll grab that other window. There. Yep. So you can see here that content that was there is not showing up for me. Instead, I see my custom message that says, hey, if you want to read more, sign up for the free content library membership here. And then there's a login form. So yeah, this is exactly, what you would see if you weren't logged in. And that took us only a couple of minutes to set up. It's really easy. I'm going to switch back here. Let's grab that other window. Cool. So you can see there, that's how that works. Make sure this is the right one. Yes, that's the right one. Okay. Yeah, so that's how that works. If you want to create a rule that protects a post, that's how it looks like when you do it. So you could also do something that's called partial content. So I want to look at that really quick. So what we would do here is we would just switch the type to partial. And now with this rule, what I can do is use a short code to protect pieces of content. This is you can do the same thing. You can protect only chunks of a specific post or, product or something like that. So you can use the short code on the page that put that before and put that after anything that you want to protect, or I guess this is hidden versus shown. It's a really, really handy tool for doing protecting just a piece of the page. So, this is how MemberPress works. Why would you use that over AccessPress? AccessPress, honestly, if you have it on your site already, it still works really well. Those access levels and stuff, you don't have to switch off of that. MemberPress does have some interesting flexibility, though, as you can see with a lot of these, templates and like there's a lot of specific things that you can gate access to with MemberPress that might be a little trickier with AccessPress. There's just a couple different flavors to it. And if you wanted to use LearnDash to protect a course, you could. But the thing with LearnDash is, LearnDash only lets you protect courses, control access to courses. It doesn't control everything else. And it's, managed through LearnDash. And if you're going to protect stuff on your site, you might as well, use one thing for it. And MemberPress just has a level of granularity that you're not getting as much through some of those other options. And then too with LearnDash, if you want to future-proof your access, maybe you have a course, say I have a course on here called Fundamentals of Basketball Shooting. If I wanted to gate access to that and then say, okay, people have access to this course, maybe people want a forum to discuss what they're learning on that course. So I can also add access to a forum to that membership. And then I could say, hey, maybe I've got a video that I want them to be able to see too, and they only have access. So I can add that as well. That's a way that you can use it, which you wouldn't have if you were just using LearnDash to protect it. So yeah, it's MemberPress has some really interesting options. So go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to add, I think one other really nice feature is this example of the one that you showed where you can define access to content based upon an individual member. So if you have a membership set up and things are available based on a membership level, and maybe they are maybe it is dripped out, but you've got an exception and you've got a person that you want to give immediate access to, well, then just come create a rule just for that member. And you don't have to mess with that membership that's already set up. You don't have to create a new membership just to give that person comp access to that new membership. It makes it really, really easy.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, Katie. Appreciate that. Yeah, so at this point, there's a lot of different things that we could show. I want to kind of open it up to the room. If you have anything that you've seen here that you want to hear more about, something that you want to see an example of us protecting, drop it in the chat. Let us know. We've had some people who've reached out to us for examples before, and so we've got a couple of those ready to go. But if you want to drop something in the chat and ask a question, you're welcome to. So, all right, Katie, what do we have for stuff that people have reached out to us about?
Well, I don't see anything yet in the chat room. We have had people kind of ask us more about protecting forums because they may have set up a course and then want to have a dedicated forum just for the students in that course to be able to interact and ask questions, etc. So I think forum is usually a really good example.
Yeah, that's a great point. So yeah, if we wanted to do a forum, so here, let me take a look at this quick. Forums are there. So if I wanted to protect all my forums, on my site, I could say, and this is through the MemberPress module. So if you have MemberPress turned on, that's how you would do it. You'd need a forum. I created a test one before, so I do have one. So you could protect all forums here, and then say except if you had one that you wanted to leave open, you could do that. Or you could do a single forum, which I have, I think it's called my test form, something like that. Yeah, test form. So I could protect that the same way, membership, free content library, easy. You could do child forums of a specific one. So say, I had, going back to the basketball shooting course, I had a basketball shooting forum, and then we had like sub forums for, layups and 3-pointers and, whatever. This would protect those child forums, but the main forum would still be open. You can do all forum topics with a topic tag, replies. It's crazy the level of granularity you can get to in that. One other interesting option too is this. This is a really flexible one. It's the custom URI. So basically what this does is in this slug up here, I don't know, you should be able to see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, this slug up here, the URL, you can take a piece of that URL, like a string that's in there, and protect that string. So anything that has that string in the URL, you would be able to protect. So I could say, I know that all my forums are under /forums. So I could put that, and literally everything that has that in its URL will be protected. Now, obviously, this is a very, very powerful tool that should be used with care. You want to make sure that the string you're using is actually unique, because if it's not actually unique, you might wind up protecting some stuff that you don't want to protect, right? So make sure that you're very careful with it when you're doing something like a custom URI. All right. So yeah, that's how I'd protect a forum. Couple different ways. Let's see, what other examples do we have here, Katie? Something else that people might have asked about.
Well, you might want to show a LearnDash example, since we're recommending that LearnDash be protected through MemberPress.
Oh yeah, and I should mention, if you have some legacy, if you have some courses through Rainmaker LMS, if something is Rainmaker LMS, in this menu here, you'll see Rainmaker LMS specifically. So it'll say Rainmaker LMS, Rainmaker Quiz. Down here, all this, LMS with Rainmaker LMS category, see that. This stuff down here, when you see courses, lessons, topics, quizzes, certificates, that stuff, that's all LearnDash. It doesn't necessarily specify, but that is LearnDash's language, and this means LearnDash. So I could say all LearnDash courses. Obviously, I also have the exception one there that I can do. Say protect everything except this course. I could say a single course. So my example, the fundamentals of basketball shooting. And you'll see here, like even as I'm doing this, it's changing the rule up here. It's kind of neat to see. I could do courses in a certain category or tag. And this is a possibility with a lot of different things, posts or products or whatever. You can use categories and tags to protect it. I can even protect individual lessons and topics and quizzes, which is really cool. So yeah, that's how you would protect a course. It's pretty simple. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. But I was typing, but now I'll just ask it. I was trying to get some clarification, Mara. Are you asking if protecting versus you're currently using LearnDash, but originally set up a course with LMS? Okay, so your question relates to, is it better to use LMS versus LearnDash?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what okay. So we do have both available. The Rainmaker LMS is the legacy LMS that was in the prior version of the platform. It was migrated over, and we actually added some enhancements to it when it came over. But we have added LearnDash. They are two separate learning management systems. the Rainmaker LMS one is one that we actually built for ourselves that we were using, and then because there just weren't that many that were available out there. Since then, a lot of new ones have come up. LearnDash is probably the leading LMS software available in the WordPress space. It definitely has more features to it than the Rainmaker LMS. So it kind of depends on what it is you want to do with the LMS. I mean, you're using that LMS, so it's fine. You can continue to use it. You could activate LearnDash if you want to take a look at LearnDash. I mean, and
Show
see
where
what
that
it's
is.
like. You can have both of them active at the same time. They don't interfere with each other. If you decide you want to try LearnDash, you could take one of your courses and set it up in LearnDash. Keep your Rainmaker LMS live, so everyone is still going through that. You could set up one of your courses in LearnDash and see how you like it. And then if you decide you want that to go live, then you just switch your menu or your links over to point to the LearnDash course, and then you could switch over other courses as you want. You have lots of flexibility there. And if you would like, I'd be happy to meet with you and give you a demo specifically about LearnDash, and we can, answer your questions and take a look at it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just want to show, like, here's where you turn it on. Rainmaker LMS and LearnDash are both in the same spot. And then LearnDash also has some extra possibility. MemberPress has some other possibilities too. There's these add-ons in the add-ons section where you can use.
Yeah, definitely extends the LearnDash functionality.
Yeah. And I should mention, if you want to integrate it with MemberPress, like that's an option that you can turn on there. So this is in the same features menu where we talked about MemberPress being. So modules, add-ons, labs, all that stuff is in there. But yeah. Cool. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? If you're using MemberPress already, any thoughts? If not, we can go ahead and wrap there.
Yeah, there aren't any questions that have come in.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us for this webinar.
Yeah, and if any questions come up after the webinar, feel free to reach out to me or to support, and we're happy to help you with setting up some rules.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye now.